All right. Hello, hello.
There we go. Hi, guys.
Look at
Welcome.
them all coming in.
Let's turn on the chat. Okay, if you're jumping in the chat today, of the last 2 days, what has been your biggest takeaway so far? Let's hear some wins. Did you implement anything? What's your takeaway been? Let's hear from you guys. And then, of course, we're going to have some polls. Yes, we will. If you're just jumping on, drop your takeaway or an action item you've taken from the last couple of days. Welcome to day 3.
Basically, I'm very excited for Retail Bootcamp. Nice, Natalia. I love it.
If you're not earning, you're learning. Woo! Put that on a bumper sticker.
Mm-hmm.
I love
I
it.
did talk to somebody, actually, yesterday I talked to somebody who had went through that, the touch points, that customer experience yesterday, and they
Yeah.
actually walked through their website and realized how clunky it was to check out. And I said, that is a win. And they were so upset. They went through the whole holiday season and they had not actually checked that out until yesterday. So that was a huge, huge win.
I mean, it's like going through the front door of your
Yeah.
business with a whole fresh set of eyes. I love it. Imagine walking through the front door of a brick and mortar and there's like a broken candle on the floor and the clothes are in a big heap, right? And it's dirty. Man, we all could walk through our websites like that. I have walked through the Boutique Hub's website like that many times.
Yep. Yep.
Everyone
I saw
hates.
somebody just put in here, I don't want to consider myself an affordable store. I think I know exactly what you mean based off of all the things we talked about yesterday. And that is a big move. That's a big growth thing for your business. Nice work.
Yeah, cheap ain't loyal. I love it. Keeney Clothing Co. says the encouragement from everyone to join RBC despite being scared. I think that's really common, and I just want to call that out. And I can tell you from personal experience, and Eric, my husband, can tell you from personal experience, the first time I ever hired a coach, I basically spent money that we definitely did not have. I cried for at least 2 hours afterwards because I felt so embarrassed and ashamed. And bless him, because he was like, it's all right. Like, we've got this, we'll figure it out. And for me, within the next 30 days, I think I had more than doubled my investment. So it sometimes is the mindset of like investing in something you're scared of, because when you do that, it forces you to take action. Like, there's no more, oh, I'm just going to open this in a tab and if I have time, I'll watch it. It's like, no, I'm actually a little bit scared because I'm on the edge about this. So I better show up and do the work. And sometimes it's that fear that pushes us over the edge to have actual action, which results in a better business at the end of the day. So congrats, you're not alone. There's a lot of past RBCers who have felt that same way.
I just got to call out Tiffany from Shop Orange. You love it. I am loving all your comments. I've been watching the last couple days. I know you're here. We haven't been able to get to people's comments a lot, but I keep seeing you, you making comments and I'm loving it. Yeah. She said, I'm a very laid back person who's not great at making a plan. So knowing there's a roadmap I can find and follow through Retail Bootcamp makes me excited to make a plan. I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
There's so many good takeaways in here. Sandy, I see you. Facebook and Instagram are sisters, not twins. They can't be treated the same.
It's like your eyebrows.
It is like your eyebrows.
I believe I've heard you say that before.
Oh, it's so true. Oh, so true. God bless my eyebrows. Did anyone just overpluck the crap out of them in high school and now you're just paying the price? I keep using the Grande lash from Ulta, thinking, or the Grande brow it is. Anyone else? Total side note, but I'm like, how do I get these puppies to grow back? It's a good question. Free meeting with Pinterest, Amber. Yeah, that was a great nugget from Jeff yesterday. Did you all feel like, holy smokes, the SEO knowledge, Google Analytics knowledge, traffic, Facebook ads, the knowledge from Jeff is incredible. So much to know there. I could read through these
I know.
all day long.
Now we're dropping cosmetology tips here because I know there's some cosmetologists in the group. So you're getting all sorts of tips on your eyebrows that you want.
Oh, wait. I got to scroll down to the bottom.
And I'm over here a little bit, now I'm nervous. I haven't tended to these things for quite some time. So maybe I can put my glasses in so we don't even look at them.
Hadley calls hers little caterpillars. She's like, I got caterpillars on my face.
Oh my gosh. Ah.
Jello. Okay. All right. Sure. I can see the biotin. What? I'm not in cosmetology. I'm sorry.
I have
Shut
no
up
idea.
while I'm ahead. Amy, my neon sign is back. Thanks for
Yes.
noticing. I got a new one because the old one I've had for, I don't know, 8 years probably. It's amazing it lasted that long. So I just ordered a new one, and you guys, I'm such an idiot. I couldn't figure out, it was so bright, it would like blind you, and I couldn't figure out how to turn it down. And finally yesterday I played with it enough, I figured it out. So it's back. Okay, so good. I'm gonna go back to the chat and read all of these comments, you guys. This is amazing. Okay, let's get started. Oh, I'm so distracted. Let's get started. We've got some polls for today. Okay, today is all about the numbers, so buckle up. I am glad you guys are the brave souls who showed up to have this conversation. It says a lot about you, first of all. And it also says a lot about you that you showed up on day 3, because everyone shows up on day 1. And then people trickle off on day 2 because life's busy. I totally get it. Very few people show up on day 3 and really like hold themselves accountable. So congratulations. I'm so thankful you're here. You guys are action takers, and that means a ton about who you are. We see you for sure. All right, let's do some polls. So today's stuff, we're going to talk all the numbers things. Let's start with this. Who here has a date with your numbers? Like every week, you get in there and you're holding yourself accountable to talk about your numbers, to review your numbers. You know, we've talked about the planner. Oh, grab mine. Guys, butt shot while I bend over. But in the planner, this has been Sarah's brainchild, all the tracking sheets about your numbers, because you know there's different types of learning, right? Like there's audible learning and visual learning and immersion learning and all of that. But it's one thing to go and take the date with your numbers, running your reports from QuickBooks or whatever, but then transposing them through writing them in the planner is a whole nother way to build comprehension and to make those numbers stick. All right, let's share the answer of that poll, Beth. Okay, good. So yes, but not often enough. So room for improvement. I see you guys. Oof, not yet is second. No, and no, what's that? Okay.
You know, I'm going to step in and say, this doesn't surprise me. As we work with hundreds and hundreds of retailers, we find this. And there's a couple common factors here. One, if you're not familiar with your numbers, they can be very scary. They can be just like, oh my gosh, the piles of papers, they're just adding up. I know I need to get into it. Next thing you know, somebody comes in the front door of your store, the phone's ringing, you're like, oh, I really should make that, take photos, or I should do this. And maybe you're more attracted to do some of those more fun things. And yeah, Tiffany, the numbers freak me out. And here's the thing, I just want to give you this bit of analogy. In stop thinking, Mary from Management One has said this for many, many years. She says, stop thinking about them as numbers and start thinking about them as dollars. So if that whole stack of paper sitting on the corner of y'all's desk, which if you guys look to the left or the right, I bet you're seeing some, you're going to see some. Think of that as your dollars sitting there. Think of that as your dollars. Don't think of that as, numbers that you're scared of. Okay, so that's one analogy. The other part is I like to think of this as, this problem, the bigger it gets, the harder it is to tackle. The longer we leave it, the harder it is for us to make sense of it. Just like a garden. Is there anybody in here that gardens? You plant the garden, you go through, you manicure the ground, you get everything ready to go, you figure out what seeds you're going to plant, you do all this, you're so excited, you label it all, it's going to be great. Next thing you know, you plant it, and then you're waiting, and then all of a sudden, life gets a little busy. The rain comes, the sun comes, and next thing you know, you're like, oh gosh, I really should get out there and weed that garden today, and something else happens. I really should get back out there and weed that garden. And next thing you know, you look and you're like, I don't even know what I planted. Thank goodness there's a little sign there, because right now it's just all weeds. That's what happens. And that's what happens to our numbers. And by the time you get to the fruit or those vegetables, they're sickly, right? They're just not healthy vegetables, healthy fruit, because you've neglected them. And that's what happens with our money. And that's what's so sad, because we get so tied up in the fun things. So today I want to break a few things down for you and just give you some bumpers and roadblocks. So let's clear our mind and start. And like, we don't want to say, I can't do the numbers. I can't do it. Let's like have that clean slate today. And then the next thing I want you guys to all do is take your pencil and look at your calendar and think, when can I have this date with numbers? Because 41% said not very often, 33% says not yet. My date with numbers when I had my store was every Monday morning, non-negotiable. We did not open up until 10 o'clock. And so I would get in there early and I would have my date with numbers. I'd clear out my whole week prior. I'd make a game plan for the current week. And by 10 o'clock in the morning, when my staff was there and the customers were coming in, we were ready to rock and roll. So I see, drop in the chat. When are you guys going to commit? Every Wednesday morning, Mondays, Tuesdays, Sunday night. Okay. Mondays. Yes. And it's just non-negotiable. Here's the next tip for you guys. You own this, but if you have a team, you let them know, do not bother Sarah at this time. This is my, as Ashley calls it, tiger time. This is not a time for you to like call me and ask me if I want to go do this, or it's not a time for you to have whatever meeting with me. And you tell your husband, you tell your kids, you tell whoever is like maybe going to bother you at that time, blacked out on my calendar, date with numbers, Sundays, Mondays, whatever it's going to be. And set aside some time, because if you give yourself 2 hours, you'll get it done in 2 hours. If you say it's all day Monday, it won't be. So narrow that focus, narrow that time, give yourself a time block. Like I'm starting here and I'm ending here. Your success rate is going to be a lot higher.
So good. All right. And Brittany, yes, we will talk all about the exact numbers to look at for sure. It's a broad, so think of date with your numbers as a broad term, but we will talk more about that. And just so you know, those of you jumping in retail boot camp, we talk about this over and over in detail. Like you have all the detail. So there's no, we don't want to leave you overwhelmed in any capacity when it comes to numbers. We'll teach you all the formulas. We'll talk about what's most important, how to get there. We'll give you all of that support for sure. All right, let's do the next poll. So when it comes to date with your numbers, we've got to talk about like, what are the tools you're using to get those numbers? And there's really two different types of numbers in general we talk about. There's inventory and product related numbers, right? So your point of sale system. And then there's cash flow numbers, and that's your bookkeeping system. So two different animals. So let's talk about how you're tracking your numbers first. Beth, if you could put up the poll, what point of sale system are you using? And if your option's not on here, because I know we've got salons and different types of businesses here, drop in the chat what you're using. And I also want to say this. I get this question a lot. Hi, Sarah Koblitz. Good to see you. So we get this question a lot. Like people will sometimes feel insecure when they see what other people are using. So I want to assure you, wherever you're at now, you were led there on purpose. You've got a great start wherever you're at now. And if you choose at some point to migrate to another platform, great. But don't feel like you have this like panicky pressure that you've got to jump on something now that you're not. I will say in general, and this poll, Beth, you can share the poll and end it now. It looks like it's done. I'm not surprised by this. Shopify is most common. And the reason is it's the largest in the world. It's had the most investment. It's fastest growing by far. It has the most apps and the most integrations. So when you hear us talk about Shopify a lot, it's because it's the most common. But if you look at Square and Lightspeed, close behind, those are also great platforms. So when we talk about Shopify, we're never going to dog these others, but there is a reason we talk about Shopify so often is because it just has so many additional tools. And Mia, I see a lot of people, those of you who are from Wix, I will just make this blanket statement. If you're on Wix, moving to Shopify is probably going to be a good choice for you because it just has so many additional features. Mm-hmm. And the other thing too is it has an open API. So it integrates with so many things. Like if you're using, I could go on for hours about this. I will spare you the details. We can talk about that later, but yeah, there's just a lot more options. All right. Point of sale, POS is point of sale system. This is where you track all of your sales. So if you're new and you're like, oh, what is this term? It's not a piece of shit. It is point of sale. And this is where you upload all of your products, all of your inventory, and then it tracks for you what you've sold. We're going to talk about product categories today or classifications. So this would be like, if you sell home and gift, you would probably be separating classifications like candles, paper products, toys, apparel, whatever it is. If you're in apparel, you're going to be not just saying tops, bottoms, dresses, but blouses, short sleeve tops, sweaters, outerwear, graphic tees, right? So we're detailing out what our product categories are so we can really understand what's selling and what's not selling. So the devil's in the details for sure.
The comments about the POS, y'all, I hear you. There are days you're like, Ashley, I think you're wrong. I think it does mean what you said.
Yeah.
Yes, but at the same time, I just want to say it is a growth tool. It really is. And the more you use it and the more you get involved with it, the better, the more familiar you will be with it. So often our point of sale systems are much like our cell phones. We know we can make a phone call with our cell phone, we can take a picture with our cell phone, but we don't know all the other things it can do until we really get in there and start playing around with it. And that's what we like to do. We've got a number of different trainings and different videos and things throughout membership and inside Retail Bootcamp as well about different systems. And we partner with Square, we partner with Shopify. So we have people inside our membership that can help you with different troubleshooting and comment sold as well and Accumula. And if you need help, we want to be able to get you to somebody that can help you.
All right, let's go to the next one, Beth. So this is all about products, right? Now let's talk about date with your numbers with cash flow and managing income and expenses. So what bookkeeping system are you using? Julie, I see your answer. Lightspeed has a lot of really great reporting.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Ooh, this is good. I'll give you just another, uh, I'll give you another minute. Anna, you're cheating. She profits now. She's using QuickBooks. And then she's your guru.
Yes, She Profits Now is pretty dang awesome. Yes. Becky, I see you.
Danielle Harquin, same thing. You're still using.
Harquin, absolutely. Yep, so as everybody's putting these in, some of you guys may be wondering, like, what are you guys talking about? Inside Boutique Hub, I mentioned our service providers.
Yeah.
We partner with services that are vetted, that come highly recommended to us, that we interview, that we think would be good for us to reference and recommend to our members. Harquin Bookkeeping and She Profits Now are two of them that we use. They're actually really the only two bookkeepers that we put our stamp of approval on for members. And it's because they understand retail businesses. They understand the world of cosmetology, they understand the world of clothing, they understand home decor and gift, all of those kind of things, because your H&R Block people down the street, or your bookkeeper, whoever in your local town, they may just do general bookkeeping. But to be very honest, there is an art to understanding retail business. And so that's why you're going to see people talking about those two as well as some of the other services inside the Boutique Hub. But that's just another perk of becoming a Boutique Hub member.
Absolutely. I just want to make the definition of the difference in bookkeeping system and bookkeeper are two different things. So every bookkeeper has a bookkeeping system. The vast majority of them use QuickBooks. So just those are two different animals. And I liken it to this, speaking about like moving to CEO mindset, right? As your time becomes more valuable, there's things that you outsource. There's things that you can do, but do you need to spend all of your time doing it? Is that the best use of your time? Probably not. Think about cleaning your house, right? We all can probably clean house with the best of them. None of us here are scared to clean the toilet. Can I get an amen? Like, we don't want to, but we can if we need to. But that's probably a wise thing for us at some point to outsource to somebody who has more time, wants to do it, can do it better, so that we can work on income generating activities. Now, working with a bookkeeper, so a Harquin, a She Profits Now, somebody like that, probably I'm gonna bluntly say probably someone more specialized in H&R Block, because they aren't always very good at managing inventory, to be frank. You want someone who understands retail. But that's like having a consultant who, like, this is what they do. But for them to be successful, and just like a house cleaner to be successful, you still have to have some background knowledge of how to clean the house, right? Because how do you know if they're doing a good job if you don't even know what a clean house looks like or feels like? So same with your bookkeeping system. Even though you're outsourcing it to somebody else, it's still on you to understand the base principles of what does it mean to understand your numbers? What does it mean to read a profit and loss report? How much money's coming in and where's it coming from? How much money's going out and where's it going? So again, it's important that you know both, just like it's important that you understand how to clean your house before you outsource somebody else to do it as well. All right, that's it for our polls today. So let's get into the how, shall we?
Let's do it.
Let's close this little guy on my screen. All right, If you've all been here, it's day 3, you know us, but just as a reminder, rather than introduce ourselves related to the business today, introduce yourself with something personal. Sound good, Sarah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so I'll go first. Ashley, you know me, founder CEO of the Boutique Hub. I have 3 kids, ages 10, 13, and 14, almost 15. And things you may not know about me, my imaginary friend as a child was Kenny Rogers, which it sounds a little bit creepy, I realize at this point in my life. I play old lady basketball for fun, and I try not to injure myself, which is hard to do. I'm a cancer survivor, and we have horses, and I am on Team Rodeo. All right, Sarah.
Holy smokes. You said something personal. Now I feel like all right, let's see. That was a lot. All right. I'm also Team Rodeo. I mentioned that earlier. Ashley and I were both rodeo queens. That's something we have in common. That's personal. Yes, yes. I also am a mother of 2. I have one of my daughters works here at the Boutique Hub, and she's been in the chat. Her name's Bridie. She lives in Idaho, and I'm getting to go see her this weekend, and I'm so excited. And she is newly married and living her best life. So proud of her. And our other daughter plays college basketball at a university here in Wisconsin. So I get to go watch her tonight. So we're also big basketball fans. Super excited about that. Let's see. My husband is from Arkansas. So I have a deep connection to the South. And every once in a while, when I see people come in from the South and I hear different companies or different verbiage and things like that, I totally relate. I totally relate. I can call the hogs with the best of them. Yes, I can. Yeah, yay, Arkansas. Let's see. Live in rural Wisconsin. Grew up on a farm out in the middle of absolutely nowhere. Ashley says her childhood imaginary friend was Kenny Rogers. I was telling my daughter about how when I'd get out of school in May, we would go to the farm and I wouldn't come back to town until August. It was like fend for yourself, play in the woods, don't come in until it got dark kind of life for me. And sounds so silly. This is so silly. And Ashley, you do not know this, but I designed a lot of clothes when I was in school, right? Even some of my queen clothes, my prom dresses and things like that. My first thing I ever made and designed was an outfit for one of my goats that I took on a parade that I made up myself as a kid. Is that personal enough? Is that personal enough? Yeah, there you go. So you didn't know that about me, and now I'm sweating because I'm like, I just told the world that I made a dress for a goat and took it on a parade. Needless to say, nobody really came to the parade, but it was fun. Yes, but that stemmed my love for the fashion world. Yes. So if you guys want to hear about trend reports, no, I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh. Fun fact, when Sarah and I go out to dinner together, neither of us will eat goat cheese because we have been around goats in real life. And if you've been around goats in real life, you don't eat goat cheese. Okay, wow, that topped everything.
There you go. All right, don't challenge me, Ashley. And somebody jumped in, Julie from Blackfoot. Awesome, Idaho. I'm going to be right down the road from you. Message me. Maybe I can jump up and see you. Love to see your store.
So good. This is the best. I love day 3. And those of you who have been through retail boot camp, you get a lot of honesty every week. So welcome to the family.
Yeah.
Today's the last day. So we are announcing giveaway winners today. Shannon Gordon is with us in the chat. At the end of the day, we will announce our giveaway winners. So we're doing, if you tagged us on Instagram, you still have time. You can do it now. We will give away 1 free retail boot camp at the end of today. And then anyone who has already purchased Retail Bootcamp is in the drawing for the free one-on-ones with our VIP upgrade for Retail Bootcamp. I did see a couple questions really quick in the chat, Sarah. So again, just to be clear, I think today at the end of the call, would it be helpful for you guys who are still thinking about Retail Bootcamp if I did a little tour? I'll pull up the course and we can look in the modules. Would you guys be cool with that? Because it's brand new. And actually, those of you who are returning, who've been in bootcamp before, you haven't even seen it yet because we redid the whole thing. Just here in the last couple of months. Okay, yes to the tour. I'll do it. We also made a change today. So in the past, we've done a manual 4-part payment plan. This round, we added Afterpay and Klarna. Those are still, Afterpay and Klarna, you can still choose those options. But this morning, we made the decision to bring back our additional 4-pay payment plan. So that additional checkout options live on the page for you. And I'll get you that link if you need it, or the girls can get you that link in the chat. And then those of you, I saw a question about the affiliate program. So something really cool we do with Retail Bootcamp is, and this is kind of a cool way where people like find a way to pay for Retail Bootcamp. Once you've been through it, you have an opportunity to be an affiliate for it. Only if it's been successful for you, let me add. Like, I don't want any fluff or BS. Like, yes, I love it, but really I didn't even take the course. Like, that's not cool with me. So only people who have actually taken it, had results with it, have an opportunity to be an affiliate. And the information for that, you guys, is inside the Retail Bootcamp group. So if you're a returning student, which I know many of you are, it's inside of the Retail Bootcamp group where you pin to the top of the post or top of the page. All right. Last thing, I also, yesterday you got a sneak peek. You got to hear we were building a brand new dashboard for members at the Boutique Hub. I did another tour of that this morning. Our team is sprucing up a couple things, and that will launch very soon for members of the Hub. Those of you who are in Retail Bootcamp, there was a question about, should I be a member of the Hub or be in Retail Bootcamp? Let me just spill the beans. If you join Retail Bootcamp, you actually get a discount on becoming a member of the Boutique Hub. So you're going to want to take advantage of that. If you're joining Retail Bootcamp, we're going to give you a perk on being a member of the Hub as well. So all kinds of things in terms of community, events, meetups, discounts, savings, connections, all of our daily communications. We would invite all of you to be members of the Hub. It should pay for itself. That's how we designed it. With the discounts you receive as being a member, that should take care of covering the cost of being a member. So hopefully that's a wash for everybody.
I just want to address, some of you guys are asking, you've been in RBC before and you have the old workbook. We have remade the workbook and it's even bigger and better. And when I say even bigger, you guys, this is the current one. This beast right here, I know this is lots of notes I have in here, but this is the one that we had last semester. This new one's even bigger, and it has more graphics in it, more like charts to work through, more creativity in it. It's
Less spelling errors. Less spelling errors as well.
Oh yeah. We actually we had someone proofread it and put her stamp of love and approval on it. And sorry about the errors in the last one, you guys, but I'm just telling you, this workbook is a gem. It is, we're so freaking proud of it. I can't wait for you guys to see it. So I'll put this.
I love it. Okay. Is it ready to download? Yes, Amy, it is. So again, if you are already in RBC in Retail Bootcamp, it's in the group, it's in the modules. You can go to the intro modules and you can either download it, print it yourself, or you can order one where we've printed it, bound it, and we'll ship it right to you because it's like 300 pages. It's a lot.
Yeah,
Okay.
I see Ashley Wilkins. She said she printed hers yesterday. Yeah, it is a beast. Yeah.
And then Ashley Pope, I see your question. Does RBC Fast 25 still work with payment plans? Yes. And today is the last day to use that code for $100 off plus the 2 free handbooks. That will end at midnight tonight. So you can do that and do the payment plan in addition to it to make it as affordable as possible. Okay. If you purchase it, can you pick it up at Wessa? No, we are using a 3PL this time. Eric and I used to ship these with our own 2 hands. With basketball and travel and all that, we just don't have the time to do it anymore. So we sent them to a 3PL, so they've got to be shipped from there. The workbook is free to download with RBC. If you want the done for you bound printed version, we paid to have those produced. So there's a small fee for those if you want the done for you version. Otherwise, yes, print it out for free.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Lots of good questions. I think are we caught up? We're good. Should we get into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Lisa, RBC Fast 25. That's the code. The girls can help you in the chat too. All right, let's go. Let's get into it. Inventory, financials, profit first. This is all coming from layer 2 here in our 6-layer formula. And again, we're talking about inside of Retail Bootcamp, we go into so much detail about the products, the pricing of the products, the turn rates, the formulas, inventory management, and then profit first and how to put more money in the bank. So that's the goal and the focus today. So where do we start, Sarah? Let's talk about trends, not just apparel trends, but all lifestyle trends. How do we decide first how we're going to have a great assortment in 2025?
Yeah, I'm curious. When you guys are thinking about what are you going to be stocking and putting in your store, where are you guys being inspired? I'd love to hear from you guys in the chat. Like where do you get your inspiration currently? Myself, market. Celebrities, yes. Walking showrooms at market. Okay, perfect. You do polls. I love that. Whoever said they do polls with their customers, Pinterest. Yes. Yeah. All of these things, all of these things. And, when you sit back and you look at some of the biggest trends that have come out lately, we can follow those trends back to a celebrity, back to a TV show or a movie or a singer or something, right? So often, so often they're attributing to what our fans, our customers, I like to call them fans, are wanting. And so then it's up to us to have some trend on hand and have some trend like in the background. And I know Ula's on here from Faves today, and this is, you'll see as a hub member, you'll see a lot of information about Faves and about different ways to like hold on to your ideas of what you want to bring in. So when the time is right, you have that inventory found, curated, so you can fill those collections, right? But the thing is, like, you don't want to just go to a wholesale platform or a market and go into the very first booth you see and buy whatever it is they say is hot. I just want to say that's what a lot of people do. And then they say, well, I look like everybody else. Yes,
Yeah.
you do. If you want to be a boutique, you want to be unique, you want to be authentic, you want to be you. You still want to make sure whatever you're putting out in front of your customers, your fans, relate to them. So what we like to do is we put together this trend report. We've got the QR code here for you. But with that, it's a lot of also education on becoming a wholesale buyer. There's information there on the home decor and gift trends, what we're seeing in the industry, what industry experts are saying are coming across. You're going to be seeing them at future markets. There's a lot of different things on the inspirations for collections. And, a collection is something that is that story that you're putting together for your fans to be inspired and to discover and to eventually buy from, right? It's not dresses. It's the wedding dresses or the, orchard, going to the apple orchard or the pumpkin patch, or it's the holiday collection. It's those kind of things that really help somebody narrow down, what am I going to do with this outfit, or what am I going to do with this collection or this purchase, right? And how am I going to use it? The idea, I want to say, when we're thinking about inventory that we are selecting for our customers, keep in mind, you guys as the retailers, you guys see these trends. You're reading the magazines. You're looking, when you watch TV shows or whatever, you're looking at the clothes or the home decor or the hairstyles. You're looking at it through the lens of a CEO of a business. It's like, how can I make money on that? You're not looking at it just for entertainment. Your customer, your fans typically are looking at that for entertainment. And then eventually they're like, oh, wow, I'd like to look like that. And where do they turn? Well, if they're fans, they turn to you.
So good. I've seen some questions in the chat just about trends are different in different locations. And I want to call attention to that. Sarah and I both can speak to this. Growing up in North Dakota, how fast do you think the trends got to us? Not very fast. Not very fast. But you know what's so different about today is social media. It changes everything. Everyone's access to trend is just so much faster. And of course, not everyone's gonna, go all in on, let's say, bows or leopard or red or whatever the trend is. But typically, you will see them at some point in time trickle into your location if you're like me and from the North Dakota originally. So it's really important to just stay up on what is that opportunity. And again, how do I stay ahead and be, it's like Ricky Bobby, if you ain't first, you're last. So how do I stay at least aware of what that is, even if I'm not ready to stock it yet? So what you guys see here on the screen is this is our 2024 spring and summer trend report from the hub. Just kind of, this is an apparel piece of it. Again, this trend report that we produce goes over home and gift, it goes over children's, it goes over lifestyle, it goes over many different areas. And then it links to actual brands stocking these trends right now. And it links right to those products. And then our team goes in on hubventory.com, which is our wholesale platform, and they pull all of these like related products to the trend and builds, we do boards like Pinterest, like collection boards on Hubventory, and it puts all those products together. So if you're like, I want to dabble in this trend, you can quickly find, with one click, all the products that really fit. Do you guys want to know, can I tell you a sneak peek? Can I tell you something nobody knows yet? about the trend report? Does anyone want to know a secret? I haven't posted this in any of the groups. Literally no one knows, and we finalized it yesterday. Anyone want a secret? Okay, I'm really excited about this secret. Sarah knows when we first decided to do this, my head literally exploded a little bit. I got really, really excited. Okay, so here's the deal. Our spring and summer trend report 2025, we wanted to get it in your guys' hands as you go to market. So it's literally coming out, I believe, end of next week is the day. So it's right around the corner, but it's going to be so different. You know why? So, in a bit of a previous life, while I still own the Boutique Hub, I had an opportunity to also own a Western fashion magazine, which we've since sold. But my heart has always been in print and in magazines as well. So we're actually going to be updating the trend report, which you guys know and love, to be much more robust. And we're going to be featuring a lot of the education, a lot of the content that we're already producing here at the Hub, plus including so many of you in this content. And we're actually building the trend report into a magazine, and it's going to be called Trend Lines. So you guys are going to get the first sneak at it end of next week. It's our light version, and then we're going to build out a full fall version that you guys will have access to at the end of the year. But we're really pumped about it. If I could just like go back again, Sarah and I have so much history, but when the Boutique Hub was a very like tiny little baby, brand new, and Sarah was saying, yeah, I think that's a good idea, Ashley. We had a mutual friend. And Sarah, do you want to talk about our mutual friend in the magazine she had, which was
Yeah.
inspiration?
So when I had my store, we subscribed, we were members of something called the Fashion Advantage, and they're no longer around, but it was primarily for more brick and mortar, more Missy stores. And TJ Reed ran that. And she would feature our store in this magazine, and she would feature a number of retailers every month. And it would be like, what's your best promotion going? What events have been working for you? What is, fill in the blank. And she would ask, and stores would submit their answers, and she'd read through things, and then she'd reach out and she'd do a little interview, and she'd highlight you as a store, right? But then there was all sorts of information. And Veronica, TJ Reed, awesome. So there's all sorts of information about new lines that were coming out, market updates. Also, it was an educational piece as well as a trend report and a highlighting of retailers across the country. So it was, and we also got together and we did events, in-person events too. It was awesome. I loved it. Kim, yes, Kim, for sure. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And so with that, when I introduced Ashley to TJ, it was kind of like, all right, where can we blend the two, right? And Ashley was really interested in online, and TJ's interested in brick and mortar, and then merging those two and building out that education that basically took what TJ had done and really evolved it into what the Boutique Hub is today. And as she was retiring, she was like, yes, let's go, let's continue this on, and here we are. And so this is going to be a educational piece that you guys are going to love. It's going to be the first day when we highlighted 4 of our boutique owners. When we highlighted those 4 and we kind of talked about who they are and what's been working, you're going to see some of that in this magazine as well, which I just can't wait to put it all together and yeah, watch it grow. It's going to be so good.
If you guys know the fashion designer Billy Reed, who's been big in the South for years and years in the menswear world, TJ's his mom.
Yes.
So it's kind of cool to see how far this goes back. And TJ had offered us an opportunity a long time ago to purchase her magazine. And it was when I was dead broke. I'm going to tell you that. Like, there wasn't an opportunity for me to purchase it at that point. But I'm so excited today that that idea can live on, and much to her credit. So excited to get that in your guys' hands for sure. We will have some printed versions, yes, at market, and then we will have an online version as well for those of you who prefer to read it that way. All right, yes, menswear, women of all ages, women of all sizes, women of all colors. That's all very important to us for sure. All right, so that's one way to get trend. But Sarah, there's a lot of other ways to discover trend. And I would love, you guys had some great examples in the chat. Sarah, where else?
Yeah. So, we mentioned the trend report. I'm going to show you some things in Hubintory, but I also want to say on this slide, you're going to see data. This is where your numbers are going to start telling you the story. That's why it's so important for all of you guys that committed to a date with your numbers. That's awesome. Looking at your sales is great, but what is selling? What sizes are selling? What vendors are selling? What colors are selling? All of those kind of things. That is what's trending in your business. So this is what Ashley said, every trends are different. So just because you see somebody killing it with bows, I saw some of you guys saying, hey, bows haven't even hit here yet. Okay, right? Patience, they'll come. But the data that you are bringing in and your data is telling you, the information it's telling you has to affect the buys, the investments that you're going to make into your business. So something else, like, when you're looking at your personalized shopping, there's a few different things to think about when you're talking about offering services to your customers, and your staff is really big on this, right? So as you have staff working with customers and you have staff doing pop-up shops, and you're analyzing what's going into the dressing room and never coming out. What are they trying on, but it doesn't make it to the register? There's a story to be told about that, right? It might look really good, but maybe for some reason that doesn't work for you. Talking to your staff about what's trending, what are customers asking for, what are they touching, what are they not touching? That is a really important thing. If you do personalized shopping for people, what are they asking for? We're going to get into something here with Prepped and Tote. These are just two examples. These are two apps. These are provider partners here at the Boutique Hub. But Prepped is a curated shopping experience where a shopper can basically curate their own look from multiple different stores, right? That they want to shop for. This is something you as a store would get involved with to try to attract more shoppers. So they're looking for different things that you don't have. This allows you as a business to stay in your lane, right? But then as a customer, maybe they're able to curate looks from across a couple different stores. And then Tote is an online fitting room. So what I can do, if you have a brick and mortar store and you use Tote in your store, you can sync it back with your e-commerce store. I can sit in the comfort of my own home and already stock a dressing room. So then it pings your staffing agent or you at the store and I set up an appointment to go into the store and have that amazing experience, right? So all the things I wanted are already in my dressing room for me. These are things that are trending in customer service, not just like a style trend, but more of a customer service trend. You're seeing a lot more of this. Save me time. Save me the stress of going store to store to store to try to find something. Yes, I want to shop with the small businesses, but I don't have endless amounts of time to go bebopping around from store to store to store in hopes of finding what I need, right? So these are just two examples of some apps that we work with that are really helping from a trend standpoint of shopping trends, not just like bows and sparkles and fringe and all those things. These are shopping trends. Yeah. So more information about that, if you guys are interested as Hub members, just go to your service provider directory. You can find information there. But Ashley, can I jump into Hub inventory real quick? I'm going to share my screen real fast.
Do the ROI calculator real quick, and then we'll jump into the numbers.
Yep. Let's see. All right. So you guys can see Hub inventory right here. And Ashley was talking about our collections. So you can shop by collections in all these different ways, right? This makes it really easy. But I just want to draw your attention to a couple of tools I think are really important. So let's just say I'm going to come in here and I only want to shop brands that are offering a Hub member perk. And it's important to me that as a business, I'm talking like I'm the retailer right now. It's important to me that whatever I'm sourcing is also not sold on Amazon. This is how we've built Hub inventory. I think these are two really important features of Hub inventory because I want to make sure I'm looking at something that my customers can't just go to Amazon and find. So let's say I need these backpacks. Well, you see that as a Hub member, you're already saving money here. I'm going to look at this and put, I'm going to go with 12 of these and looking at that as an investment of $410.40, saving 5%. But I want to look at this and think, all right, we're talking numbers. What does this mean for my business? When you scroll down here, you can look at this show return on investment calculator. So as we're going to start talking about where does my money go, this is really, really important because what I want to know is my markup, what I think this is going to sell for. And if worst case scenario, I'm going to sell a third of those at 0% off, which is full price. Say a third of them is going to go at like a 20% off discount. Maybe that's your staff or whatever it might be. And then say maybe a third of those I missed the mark on. They are not selling and now I have to do it 50% off. Is this still a good return on my investment after I pay for the products? Yes, it is. We have a calculator right here that says, all right, Sarah, you at a 2.5 markup with this discounting idea. This is like worst case scenario in my mind. This is what we call the rule of thirds in retail boot camp. If this happens, I would still have a return on investment of 368. Now, for all of you guys, we talked about this yesterday. If I'm thinking, I actually just want to be an affordable business. I want to be affordable. So you're going to say, okay, I'm just going to keystone markup. I'm going to 2 times this. Look at the difference that just made in my return on investment. But if I look at this and say, actually, I think I can get a little bit more for that product. And you play around with this and you're like, I think that's going to work. I think a 3-time markup is going to work on this. I really do think it's not on Amazon. It's unique to my area. Look at the difference in the return on investment. That makes so much, it's an eye opener for you. And this is why I wanted to show this to you, as when we're talking numbers and tools, use the tools available to you. And also inside Hubintory, we built these budgeting tools. So I could go in here and say, my bag budget for January is $5,000. This product, if I commit to this, we're at $410 off my bag budget. This gives me bumpers. So this is what I just wanted to show you as different tools and different trends. The point is, it's not 2006 anymore. The trends are happening, not just fashion trends, but technology trends too. We want to make it so much easier on you to be the better business owner. And that's why we've created tools like this inside Hubintory.
Yeah, I love that, Sarah. Yeah, that does come with your membership, you guys. It's hubventory.com. It's a separate login than your membership, but you can quickly connect the two. There's like a one button you have to click, and then it automatically applies all those member discounts for you and gives you access to those tools that not everybody else has access to. So that is super helpful. And then because Ula's here with Faves, just so you guys know, that also integrates with Faves. So if you're tracking the products you're purchasing at market, and you want to know everything that's on order, like kind of where is your money sitting right now, it all integrates, and then it integrates with Shopify. So if you're on Shopify, it will then automatically sync all the things that you purchased from Hubintory right into a draft product in Shopify for you. All right, Sarah.
All right, so then let's get into it. A couple of the things you guys were asking, what do I need to be tracking in my store? What do I need to be aware of? Well, we're going to get into here in the next couple of slides. We're going to get into a few more things, but real quick, I wanted just to call your attention to this. The formulas in your workbook, if you guys printed off the workbook as well, this is just your break even. Like, what does it cost me to just be in business? What is my break even? So running this calculation in your date with numbers and just giving yourself that benchmark, right? Like Ashley and I were talking the first day, you would never play a sport without a scorecard or a scoreboard. You would never play a game of basketball or a game of football without the timer and the scorecard or scoreboard lit up. So you and your players, you knew what was going on. But yet some days we allow ourselves to open the store and close the store, and we have no idea if we even broke even in that day. So that's why this is here. That is a non-negotiable. So you guys, we won't spend a lot of time on that, but that formula is right there for you, as well as what is a variable cost and where do I get that from? So you can move on to the next one, Ashley. But inside membership as well, we have these formulas. They're plug and play for you. So you can input the numbers and it automatically will do the calculation. That's built into Retail Bootcamp as well. But then a couple other things is I want to talk about understanding some of these metrics is the difference between cash flow and profit. That's a big one. That is a really, really big one. So the thing is, like, this is why we are so big on, like Harquin and She Profits Now, because they understand the difference in retail and they will speak that way to you. And we speak that way to you inside Retail Bootcamp. To come out and say, I was profitable, but then you have no cash. How are you buying inventory? How are you paying the rest of your bills, right? We want to make sure that the cash is flowing. So as we're looking at inventory that we're investing in, who's sitting on a lot of inventory that's taking up space in their business right now? It's just taking up, yes, me, I see you guys. That inventory is sitting there and you can't do anything with it until you turn it into cash. So if you bought too much at one time, right? Now it's sitting there and you're like, gosh, dang it, I can't pay my bills with this. I can't pay payroll with this. I can't pay my rent with this. So you need to make sure you're quickly and efficiently turning that back into cash through your sales. So the cash flow is coming back in. So you have opportunity to go do new things in your business. And that's really, really important. So understanding some of these key metrics in your business, set some benchmarks for you. Gross profit goal between 50 and 60%. Where are you at? Where are you at with your expenses? Reviewing some of these things. This is part of your date with numbers that I love to delegate out to even some of your staff, where you can pull up your profit and loss, and you can look and say, okay, where are we at with some of these things? Are we higher than we were 6 months from ago, or are we on track? Where could we cut some costs? And once you're starting to do this, this is one of those things we really like to talk about in your business. Like, when is my cash coming in? And what are my efforts that I'm putting out where I'm not seeing a return on investment? You guys, this could be sales days. This could be one of those things where you're like, you know what? Actually, I don't sell anything on Mondays. Mondays, I'm here, I'm going through all of this, but my sales are not good on Mondays. My break even is this, and I have not broke even on a Monday in however many weeks, however many months. And then at that point, maybe the decision can be made, is Monday a better day for us to still staff and do meet my date with numbers, content creation, marketing plans, photo shoots, all of those kind of things. And make sure then when I am on the floor, when I am in my business, like, we're really there and we're not getting, pulled in two different directions. So those are just a few different things. But the idea here is understanding what's coming in sounds great, but also what is going out of our business. And let's go to the next slide. And this is where we're going to get into it. All right. So this is something that we do a lot of inside Retail Bootcamp, and even in membership, we touch on this. But has anybody seen this? I know all you Retail Bootcampers are going to be like, oh my gosh, yes, I have. I've seen this. This is the where is my money going? This is benchmarks in the industry. So when you bring in your sales, that's great. But we know our sales, our markup has got to afford, it's got to afford the cost of the items. It's got to afford potential discounts, and it's got to afford my profit. Well, there's other things built in here as well. So when you look at your overall sales, right? Your overall sales, you can break this down. And this is, this is industry standard. Yes, if you're in New York City, or maybe it's going to be, there's going to be places it's going to be a little bit different, but 10 to 12% of your sales should be allocated for rent, labor. And this is not you guys. This is not you as owners. This is your payroll, 10 to 15%, marketing 3 to 5, administration costs 4 to 5. That leaves you a bumper, some other from 4 to 7. And then by the time you pay the cost, that should leave you with a savings, which is your personal profit, of 10%. And I know Christine Gray, really, when she works these numbers, she loves to work it so it's getting closer to 20. And that's goals, for sure.
Sarah, can you highlight the difference, obviously for a brick and mortar and for an online business, some of these numbers be slightly different?
Well, so here's the thing. I mean, if you're an online business, you are still holding inventory somewhere. There's a lot of online businesses that have warehouses. So maybe that's your rent. When you have a business in an online business or in brick and mortar, that inventory has to be stocked somewhere. Now, if you're 100% drop shipping, yes, there's going to be that's going to be different. And maybe then you are able to allocate that percentage towards something else.
I just want to highlight too, if you're online and you said your inventory has to be stored somewhere,
Yeah.
let's make sure, I mean, this isn't a question for a good accountant, is how do I maximize that efficiency? You might be writing off part of your home. You may have, like we have a unique situation where we have an additional building on our property that can be owned by a separate LLC and then rented back to the boutique hub. So there's all kinds of ways to own property, rent it back to yourself under another company name and find tax efficiency. But a good accountant will counsel you through that process.
Yeah, and I will just say, when you are storing inventory, you want to make sure that you are turning that inventory over fast enough that you're not just stockpiling, warehousing to the point where things go into that warehouse area to die a slow death and they're not getting shown and not getting sold. I have worked with some stores that have went and taken out, because they had so much inventory, they got rental units because they had more inventory than they had places for. So all of a sudden now their rent is really going up, but their sales have not increased. But their focus was not on moving that inventory that they're basically warehousing or storing away somewhere. So this really helps you with bumpers and guardrails on how much am I spending? And if I'm looking at a lease, are my expected sales going to support said lease with this system?
So good. We could talk about this, and we do talk about
Yes.
this. We spend a lot of time on this as a whole in retail boot camp. But there's so many different ways to analyze it. And then it leads to additional conversations. Like Sarah, I know you have a markdown strategy spreadsheet that you share in
Mhm.
RBC that kind of demonstrates the power of a faster markdown strategy. I mean, can you talk about that and how that
Yeah.
contributes to the success of this formula?
So that's when you have that big conversation with yourself. What's better, margin or cash? When you look at your inventory and you're starting to realize some of this inventory is about to have a birthday. Some of this inventory is about to have an anniversary for these dishes or these candles or whatever that might be, or these jackets. And inventory should not have birthdays in your business, right? Nobody's coming into your store saying, "Hey, can you show me what was really popular in fall of 24?" No, they're not doing that. They're coming on looking at new arrivals. That is the number one place people want to go. Or they may be looking for sales, yes, but then they're looking at that like they want it at a discount. So nonetheless, when you're looking at your inventory, and it depends. It depends on what type of inventory it is, if it's home decor and gift, or if it's occasion, or if it's women's or even children's. But ultimately, you want to establish a system where between 6 and 10 weeks, you're tracking the turn of that inventory. How fast is it selling? Has there been interest? If not, if there's not, you're asking yourself why. Why is it not moving? Have I not merchandised it properly? Right, we're going to talk about that in a minute. Am I not photographing it well? Is my social not converting? Did I forget to do it? Did I forget to do videos of this? Have I really gotten it out in front of my audience, my fans? Is it serving their purpose, whether it's their fit, the feel, the function of this, all of those things? And you have to learn from the mistakes, learn from the inventory that's not moving, and you have to take action, right? And you have to start with that markdown. And I always like to say that first markdown should make an aggressive move with your consumers. So we'll talk a lot about this inside Retail Bootcamp, you guys. So I won't go into the difference between a sale and a promotion, but at the end of the day, inventory does not get better with age. So the idea that maybe it will sell later is basically like saying you're going to take your $20, right? And say you have, 5 of those things. So that's $100 bill. You're going to take that and do what with it? Just put it under a rock somewhere and just hope that somebody finds it and hopes that they buy it for that amount of money later? Or do you rather say, you know what? I just need to get whatever cash I can out of this right now. Margin's not my focus, because I need that cash to pay for fill in the blank. All these things, these things happen. They're showing up every month. So it's not like you're going to have a month where you're just going to say, actually, I don't want to pay rent today, or I appreciate everybody coming in, but I didn't mark anything down and people aren't buying it at full price. And my sales just haven't been aggressive. And so therefore we'll just do payroll next month. People aren't going to keep coming around for that.
Julie, I see your comment in the chat, and I want to challenge your line of thinking just a little bit. She says, I agree, but how do I get in that mindset when I'm in a small town and only 2 to 3 walk through the door a day?
Yeah.
This is where your online marketing strategy has to step up. And whether you're selling e-commerce or not, this is your opportunity. What is your process for photo shoots? How are you getting these items, on a model or in a picture, putting it on Facebook, putting it on Instagram, making videos out of it, all the things we talked about yesterday, that's how you get your views up. So when you're
Mhm.
looking at the age of inventory, and we could talk about how to do it, you have to set it up right in Shopify to make sure you're tracking the age. And then every week in a date with your numbers, you're looking at the aging report. What do I have on hand and how old is it? And then in my marketing works hand in hand with looking at that aging report. Because I can say, all right, yes, I have all these new things I want to promote in my marketing strategy this week, but I've got to pull in the old things too and make them look new. So where am
Mhm.
I restyling, reshooting, reposting? If I have a pack of something and I haven't at least sold a third of it, and I go back and I look at my marketing and go, oh, okay, bummer. I never actually posted this anywhere. No one's ever seen it except it's been hanging in my store, right? Then that's a miss on us. So how do we create that promotion opportunity, even
Mhm.
if we're brick and mortar?
And I'll say this, so some of this panic that I'm seeing in the comments, I would say pause and go back to when you made that decision to invest in this inventory. Go back to standing in the showroom, go back to the cart on Hubventory or Fashion Go or Fair, wherever it was. What made you say, buy it now? What made you say, I need that right now? If you just did it because it was cute and you wanted to get it before it got sold out, I would challenge that mindset, because that's like you going to the grocery store and buying 2 months worth of inventory or groceries and then putting them all in your refrigerator and saying, gosh, where am I going to put all this stuff? Oh, I better go put some in the garage refrigerator. Oh, I better go stockpile something else. And next thing you know, you pull out something, you're like, gross. That lettuce is disgusting. Why did I buy 6 heads of lettuce? My husband and I would never eat that much at one time. But you're like, oh gosh, for some reason, that makes sense to us in the grocery store. It has to make sense to you when you're buying inventory for your store too. I talk about store food inventory as well as your home decor and gift or your clothing in, because it makes sense. If we start looking at stuff as a disposable item, we may pump the brakes and say, yeah, I love this. Let me put this in my future. Let me put this in my, in a collection on faves or in my, wherever, and say, I'm coming back to this, but I don't need it right now. I don't have the cash. I don't have the sales to invest in it right now, but this is on my wish list. It's on my wait list. That's okay. So that's something I really want to work with you guys on, because I see people talking about bag sales. Gosh dang it. Bag sales can really serve a purpose, but man, you don't want to train your customers for that kind of stuff. You just don't want to have that much extra on hand. And you have buyer paralysis also, which is a real thing if you give them too many options. So small towns, you want to give them a few options, right? But you also want freshness constantly coming in. So when the vendor says to you, when do you want this? You tell them a day. You don't say, oh, whenever. No, it's not whenever. It's not whenever. Because their whenever is going to be tomorrow, and it's all going to hit your credit card and it's all going to hit your store floor and your warehouse at the same time. And you're not going to be able to allocate time, money, and effort into excitement to promote it, to get it out in front of people. And your customer, as Ashley said 2 days ago, there's only a certain amount of them are ready to buy right now. Right? So why not drip information out to them and get them excited a little bit at a time versus like, whoosh, Christmas morning, 900 gifts for the one kid. And next thing you know, they're over in the corner playing with a cardboard box because they have paralysis. They're overstimulated. We don't want to do that. All right. So then getting into this whole like profit first system, this is the idea. This is the idea of when that cash is coming in, right? We're allocating money to your profit first before expenses. What does that mean? That means you. That means you. That means you're going to hold out the money for Ashley, the money for Sarah, the money for Caitlin, the money for whoever, whatever your name is. You're the hardest working employee in your business. You're the one showing up early, staying late, doing the stuff. So take your cut first. Take your cut first, because I guarantee you, when that plate gets a little smaller, you're still going to figure it out. Or you're going to start to be a lot more disciplined in your spending. So what you're going to do is you're going to take that profit out like it didn't even happen. You're going to take that 10% out right away, right? So then if you're got $1,000 now, you got $900 to work with. Now look what you can do with that $900. That $100, like you forget about it. That's yours. You put that away for a rainy day for yourself or whatever you're going to do. And then you have these separate accounts. You take 10%, that, like I said, in your profit, you've got your tax account, you've got your inventory, and then you got your operating expenses. So then you're not robbing Peter to pay Paul later. You've allocated this. And when it's time to go buy inventory and you look at that inventory account and you're like, I don't have a lot of money. Well, get back at it, make some more sales, go live, do a pop-up, do more social content, get on the phone, call your customers, all of those kind of things. Yes, Lori, I feel like if you don't pay yourself first, you won't have it later. Absolutely, you will not have it later. 100%. All right, let's jump in. This has been a really, really big conversation inside our community, payroll discussions. I'm curious. I'd love to see you guys in the chat. Where are you from? Just the abbreviation for your state, and what do you start people out at? Let's get the chat rolling. Vermont, $17 an hour. Jane is in California and she's 20. 11, Arkansas. 10, Indiana. So you can see where this really depends on where you're at. And also it's going to depend on what you're hiring for. But people expect, gosh, wow, right? Like, can we just say, sit back, and when people come in and they're asking for their base pay, they're asking for their starting salary, and you're like, wow, how did we get here? This is tough. That's why it's so important. It's so important that you're allocating those funds, because if you're not allocating those funds, you guys, you're not going to meet the mark. And the last thing you want to do is have to not be able to pay another bill to pay payroll, or, not be able to put new inventory in your store because of your payroll. The other thing this really does is it helps you identify, and this is why we built this out inside the Boutique Boss Planner. Every month, I ask you in the planner, what is your payroll goal? And then what was your actual payroll? And then I also ask you, who was your most productive sales staff member? And who was your sales staff member with the most returns? This could be for you guys in store or pop-ups, actual physical bring it back. It could be people, it could be sales online, and you look at the fulfillment people and who has issues with when they fulfilled an order, whose orders are coming back for damages or incorrect order fulfillment, all of those kind of things. But this is where we would decide if our employees are paying for themselves. And I think it's really important to understand that everybody as a collection should be pulling their own weight. Like I always like to talk about the chain link, right? Like this goes back to, the first team activity you ever did. Every chain link is equally as important. And it doesn't matter if you're the person coming in and cleaning, vacuuming, dusting, keeping the shelves straightened. You're just as important as the person unpacking and doing quality control of your inventory as the person actually selling the products. Because if my products aren't hung and steamed and my products aren't merchandised correctly, if the store is dirty, it doesn't matter. When that person comes in, am I making them a super fan? Probably not. All of a sudden, the sales job's so much harder. So when you are hiring and you're looking at productivity, there's a lot of KPIs that you can measure to understand, are my employees paying for themselves? How many times am I going back, and is there redundancy in projects, right? Like, do I have to go back and do it all over again? Ashley likes to say, like, don't put your monkeys on my desk. Don't come at me and say, hey, what should we do about this? You figure it out. Come at her and say, hey, this is an issue. Here's my 3 ideas, right? That helps her be efficient. It helps us as a company be efficient. But if we're hiring somebody and all they do is just present us with the problem, we know the problem. So think about that in your business. Like, who is on your staff? How productive are they? How much easier are they making your life, the customer's life? How often are they coming up with their own solutions, bringing that up to the table, right? And here at the last one, this GWC, that's what this is get it? Do they get their role? Have you trained them properly? Do they get it? They understand it? We want to say yes or no for that. This is a measure of their productivity, their ability, their satisfaction, your satisfaction of them as an employee. So do they get it? Yes, no, have maybe. Do they want the job? Right? Is it something that they want, they're yearning for, that like they're putting in all the effort? And 3, do they have the capacity for it? So these are just 3 measurements. Then when you look at your staff, I encourage you to kind of take an assessment of that. Because it's so much more than just saying, I'm in California, you're going to start at $20 an hour.
There's lots of chat, lots of support in the chat for Shalonda right now.
So
And
what's going on there? I missed it.
she says that she's got a manager that's not worth her pay, but she said she's stuck with her. And so everyone's supporting her, saying, well, maybe it's time to let her go. And Sarah, just to go back to the GWC, and this is so important, what's our training process, or what's our accountability process? In day 1, we talked about, we have annual goals that are broken down into quarterly rocks, and then everyone on our team is accountable to those numbers. So if someone on your team isn't cutting the mustard, what are they accountable to? And what have they been trained to do? So some of that comes back to leadership, right? Like, how are we holding that person accountable? Where are we setting the bar? And then when is it on us to say, have we talked to them about this? Have we shown them where they're falling short? And if they're still repeating that same behavior in action, then it's on us to say, time to cut the cord and let them go. So that's a whole nother conversation we can have. And that's a whole section in Retail Bootcamp as well.
Yeah, I get very passionate about this. And like I said on the yesterday or the day before, I've also coached teams at a collegiate level. And I understand, the working together as a team and what one bad apple can do to the team and what lack of communication can do. And ultimately, just remember this, that when people are coming to your business or coming into your store, and if they're not satisfied with a staff member, it really goes back to you. If you watch a team and you're like a basketball team and they look like they don't know what they're doing, what's the first thing people say? What the heck is that coach doing in practice? Do they not do layups? Do they not do blah, blah, blah? You're the coach. I know it's a lot of pressure, but that's why we can't just hire and say, yep, here, read this. Let's go. Game on. You rah, huddle team. Can't do it. There's a lot of training that goes into this, a lot of evaluation. But at the end of the day, if you've got somebody that's not cutting the mustard, as my dad would say, I don't even know what that means, but if you've got somebody that you're questioning, set aside some time to call them in and just talk through it, and put the ball back in their court. How do you think you're doing? How do you think you're doing in the role? What is making you excited about your role? What have you done to improve the business? Ask them some of those questions and then just sit back and let them talk. And a lot of times it doesn't take long for them to realize, I actually haven't done anything, or I'm not doing anything.
Sarah, there's some really good comments in the chat. I just want to show you really quick. Joellen, this is exactly what Sarah's speaking to. She says, I feel like I'm a constant babysitter. I've trained them, but they still fall through the cracks at times. Sarah just brought up doing layups, right? Basketball team. Do we think, yes or no in the chat, do NBA players, when they go to practice, still work on layups? What do you guys think?
Every day. Yep.
Do you think your coach ever gets sick of teaching them layups? Probably. But
making sure they're not cheating the process, making sure they're not just like nonchalantly putting out low effort and thinking, it's just a layup. No, there's no such thing as just a quality control, just a customer, just get her name at checkout, just capture her email. It's not. These are principles in your business. They cannot be cheated.
That's right. So if it's game time and player misses a layup or player misses a free throw, but coach hasn't been mandating that they practice those every single day, is that loss or is that miss on the player, or is it actually on the coach?
Yeah.
That's a stupid hard truth about being a business owner and having employees, is so much of it comes back to us and the systems and processes that we put in place for our team that feels like we should just hire someone and then they've got it, right? When Sarah was hired at the Boutique Hub, like, God bless you, Sarah, but I mean, you drank through a fire hose and I was like, okay, got it. All right, good. We're done. And I never trained her again. So thank God for Sarah that she stuck around, but we all learn those lessons. So don't feel bad if that's you, because all of us, I think, have to go through that process.
Yeah. And it's one of those things that, just like I said, that bad apple deal, if you've got the one person that's showing up 30 seconds late, 5 minutes late. They're not coming to the meetings, right? Whatever your task is and they are half-assing it, you've got to call them out because it won't take very long for those other people that do give 110% effort to be like, wait, Billy doesn't do that. It's fine. That's fine. Sarah won't care if I'm a little bit late. It's just Sarah's store. It's just whatever. And oh man, if anything burned me with my store, if it was, is when people would come in and, or say, well, it's just so and so, it's just this. So I can have somebody else cover my shift. You guys can tell I get very passionate about payroll or team management discussions. And so I know we don't have a lot of time for all of that today, but that's why we dedicate 2 full weeks to this Inside Retail Boot Camp. We bring in experts to talk about payroll and commission and compliance and all those things, as well as project management and delegation and hiring, firing, and all the things. So I love it. This is a huge, huge make or break for your business.
So good. I'm going to go to the next slide, but last thing, there's a difference in being nice and being kind. Being nice is just hoping they figure it out and you're nice to them, right? Oh, good job, honey. Keep going, right? You'll get there. Being kind is saying the thing that needs to be said because it's for the best of that person, because you love that person, because you want that person to get better, because you really want that person to succeed. You're kind by being honest.
Yeah.
So that's a gut check. Are we being nice or are we being kind as leaders? All right. Oh man, lots of employee conversations. Let's do some questions. You guys ready? I know the questions are coming in the chat and we're loving to answer them already. Use the Q&A box if you can on the screen, because then our team can also, if we don't get to your question live, then our team can answer questions as well. Any number related questions we talked about, I feel like we barely even scratched like the nail head of the surface on numbers, but it's a start. It's a start. There's so much to talk about, but it's a start. Someone asked a question in chat earlier, and I think this goes with the whole conversation of how much of these numbers should my team see or have access to? So Sarah, can you just kind of share weekly scorecard, weekly company scorecard, date with your numbers? What are you tracking? And then open book management, what are you sharing with your team? And if you're not ready to share all of it, where do you at least start?
Yeah. So I think your break even point is a great place. Just the reality for everybody. This is what it costs to run this business. And the other reason I think this is very important is this is a good number to show to those people that are like, I'm actually only going to work here long enough to get my own experience so I can go do this myself because I'm going to do it better than, Claire does, or I'm going to do it better than Katie does. You've had those people that they're just fishing for information so they can start to do their own thing. So if that's the point, or whatever, but you want to make sure they're like, every customer counts, every email counts, every photo that I take counts, because it costs Sarah this much dollars to just be open today. And if it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon and we haven't had many sales, you're like, oh my gosh, we're gonna lose. Like, we're losing big today. It's a game. Every day is a game. Business is a game. So what is your break even? And then, like, what are our goals? Let's get together as a team and say, what are our sales goals? Once they know how your break even, they know that when you say you want to be a $500,000 annual store, they know you're not taking $500,000 home with you. They know that you've given them that break even. So what's your break even? What are your sales goals? And even bigger, like your annual goals, then do the math. What is it by month, right? Or what is it by quarter? Figure it out by week. Figure it out by day. I love this because I know I work with a lot of different stores that when they started saying your sales goals by day, and you guys use your brains and know that if Mondays are typically slower than a Saturday, and your week, say your week is going to be a $10,000 week, maybe you're going to put more emphasis on a Friday and Saturday for your sales goal than maybe you do earlier in the week. You can figure those numbers out for yourself, but have a scorecard for that. So when you have shift people that come in at the end of the day and they look and they're like, sales today are slow. Sales today, we're at fill in the blank, 2,500, and we wanted to be at 5. You're like, okay, we're halfway there and it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon and we're closing at 6, or, we're online. So we're open 24/7, but we just haven't brought in the numbers. What do we need to be doing? Then you can go back and you can go to your marketing plan, right? You can look back at the content you have. What do I need to be pushing out? All of those kind of things. So metrics are, what is your break even? What is your sales goals, right? What is your sales goals? These are really important. And then the other thing that I think is really important to be looking at is when you're looking at the sales goal, look at your average order value. What is the customer when they check out, what is that average ticket? And how can I bump that up? Those are some just easy, just getting started metrics. So if your average sale is $30, look at the math and run that. Like, what difference does that make in my store if all of a sudden that $30 order becomes a $40 order? Next thing you know, everybody leaving the store has an add-on of a trinket or a bow or accessories or what socks or whatever that might be, right? If you're a salon, they're paying for the salon, they're paying for their service, but now all of a sudden they're taking shampoo or conditioner home with them. That's huge. That makes a big, big difference. And those are replenishable products. That's another big thing, right? We get into all of that more too, but nonetheless, so those are some metrics that I think are really important. So your sales, breaking that down. But then when it comes to inventory, something you miss a lot of, and in order to do a lot of the calculations we teach inside Retail Bootcamp that are in the planner, knowing what you have on hand in inventory at any given time is extremely important. That's why in the planner at the beginning of the month, there's a line, it says, what is your beginning inventory on hand? And at the end of the month, you put that on, you write that down as well. And you also want to know, what do I have on order? What have I committed to? The reason that is super important is because that affects your cash flow. If you went to market last October and you committed to a whole bunch of orders that are going to be shipping February 1st, but you have forgotten about them, that might really affect your cash flow come February 1st when all of a sudden the UPS dumps it all on your front steps or your warehouse and your credit card just gets skyrocketed because they billed all of it at the end of January, but you forgot about it. So not only what do I have on hand at any given time, but what have I committed to? Because that's your cash that's like, it's already spoken for. You've got to keep up with those things.
Sarah, Ashley has asked us a couple times in the chat, so I want to make sure we get to her. But how to enter aging, like the age of products in Shopify.
Okay. Yeah. So when you attach, you can create your own SKUs inside Shopify, and you can, like, if you received it today, it could be a 1825. And that's that first data point you put on there. That means that you received it on January 1st of 20 or January, whatever it is. I said 8th of this year. So that's one way you can do that. When you put those things on a purchase order and they go live, you can also look at the date that you receive them, and you set them live in your store based on that date to assess an age to them as well.
You could also do it by tagging. I know some retailers do it that way. And then someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe in better reports. Is that a line item question in better reports as well? I wish Shopify made that piece a little bit easier. It should be an automatic question when you input products. And then as far as tracking on order, like Elise said, Faves is really awesome for that. Faves is one of the best ways to do that. All right, I've got lots of questions in the Q&A. As a reminder, I love your guys' questions in the chat box, but if you could also use it in the Q&A box, then we can see them a little bit easier and our team can help answer them there as well. So first, Jody, this is a really common question. I hate that you had to ask this question, and we all feel for you with this question. So Jody says, I've got inventory sitting now because I designed and had a supplier make dolls for me. I had to purchase 2,000 of each style. Once I received them, this company turned around, copied my dolls, are selling them for half of what I can afford to. Sadly, my copyright attorney said it's not worth fighting since they're in a different country. I'm stuck with these dolls. They're not moving. They're in storage right now. It's so frustrating to see people copy your work. What would your suggestion be for this? Sadly, the company that stole my products have a better social media presence than I do. I am a small company.
Who is the customer for the dolls? Where are we at?
You can, Jody, if you're here, put that in the chat. Put that in the chat. Who is your customer for the dolls? Ugh, and we hear this with so many different people. Oh, working with suppliers can be very tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason I say that is, just knowing who that audience is, and, working with somebody on your SEO strategy to, set out and really target those said customers is extremely important. And to assume that just because this one other company has a good social presence, you know, don't limit yourself, but you do want to make sure your information's getting in front of the right people and you're not just pushing information out about a product to a customer that really does not relate to it. So, there's multiple, I've told this story about, if you have an antique car and you want to sell that car for what it's worth, are you just going to put it on Facebook Marketplace, or are you going to go trade it in at the local dealership? No, you're going to go to an antique car show and get it in front of the right people. So I would like to make sure you have that narrowed down. Yeah. And so gifts, moms, grandmas, aunts, etc. So yeah, I would work with somebody on an ad strategy to go after that audience specifically. Go after that audience, use keywords that are important to them, get in um for like baby showers, and think about different things like that that are relatable to that said audience that would just like adore those dolls. You can't assume that every grandma is on social. They're not. So it might need to be more in person.
I would also I just want to remind you too, people don't always remember the product. They remember the way they made you feel. What is your brand? What is your brand? So this is the same thing apparel boutiques are facing all over the United States and the world right now with Shein and Temu. They're literally taking the photos from small boutique owners, copying them, knocking the product off, and selling it directly to consumers for $4.50. So retailers have a choice. You can roll over and die and let them do it, or you figure out a way to make your photography, your merchandising, your brand, your marketing, your personal story, your value better than Shein and Temu. And I think it's the same with the dolls. So you can either lock them up in storage, or you may have to create a crisis plan of how you're going to reprice them. What's the ad strategy going to be, and what's the brand strategy going to be to push the heck out of these things so you don't lose your butt with them? So again, it might be a crisis price, but it's a price that will at least move them out, and just say, you know what, if we're not winning, we're learning. Like we gotta keep moving. We're with you,
Yeah.
Jody. I mean, it is happening to so many people right now. It's tough.
Yeah, it really does. Stay aggressive with it, right? Like if you're proud of these dolls and then they tell a story to you, tell that story. Get that story out there. What inspired you to create these dolls to begin with? And that kind of stuff pulls on people's heartstrings and makes them feel a certain way. They want to vote with you. And I say voting with you because that's what they do when they open their wallet up and pay you. They're voting for your existence.
All right, Sarah. Monica asked, Sarah, can you repeat how to track the sales staff sales?
How to track the sales from your staff. So in your point of sale system, or however you are making your sales, you would ultimately have your staff assigned to those. So like when they log in, that sale would go under their name. So when you are looking at your overall sales for the week, you want to look and say, run that sales report by employee. And it's one of those things that, like I said, everybody affects that sale, right? But ultimately, you may have some people that are more sales driven than cleaners or inventory processes or something like that. But that is definitely that's a great training opportunity. Who sells the most and who sells the least? Then also look at that report for returns. When you have returns coming back in, what staff member was assigned to the original sale? So what can we learn from that?
Yes. All right. Beginning inventory number for each month. Is that the total price I paid for everything that I have on hand?
Yeah, your beginning inventory month is all the cost, that costs all the inventory you have on hand.
Um, Eva, or I'm sorry, Erin, I just set up a domain with Wix 2 months ago. Can you connect it to Shopify? Is there a class on how to use Shopify, or should I cancel the Wix website and redo on Shopify? You can move so if you purchased your domain through Wix, you own the domain. So that you can move to Shopify because the domain is yours. But if you haven't built out your Wix site completely, I would honestly consider just jumping ship and going to Shopify now and quit before you're ahead. Quit before you're ahead. That analogy really doesn't work in this scenario. I'm sorry. I just said that. You know what I mean. Move now while you have a chance. Yes. Okay, Shannon Gordon, if you could DM me in the chat the giveaway winners, I would love to congratulate those folks as well. That would be amazing. Elise asks, Sarah, how do you start the conversation to put team members in the right seats?
So this is fun. So a couple different ways, depending on who they are, right? Ask them, like, hey, what are you loving about your job? And what are some of the things that like you don't, that is not as exciting about your job? What are some skill sets that you have that maybe we're not utilizing yet? I love to know that because, it has happened a lot of times that we're working with a store owner and all of a sudden, whoever their girl is that's unpacking inventory, they're a little shy. They're too, they're new. They don't feel like they can come up with these new ideas. And ultimately you unpack the fact that they're really good at writing copy. They're a very creative writer. So, uncover some of those talents within your staff before you necessarily go out and look for new, but just have conversations with them. Like, hey, what's working? What are you loving? What are some ways that we could be more efficient here? There's going to be some tasks that nobody wants to do. That's life. That's life. But hey, what are your ideas on how we could do those a little better? And from that, having those conversations, then saying, all right, these are the seats that we're going to need. What do we have? Who's all in, who's jumping up, and whose skill sets, whose gifts can handle these things, and where do we need to kind of backfill on some things? And then from there, you jump in and you think, all right, what's our training plan? What does it look like to be an A+ employee in this role? And then start building that out training wise. You know what you want that person to be, how you want them to do things, but have those open conversations with them to help them. If they feel like they're more a part of that development, they're going to take a lot more ownership and leadership in that role.
I love that. And quick question related to that. So Elaine's asking about the scorecard, right? So they know they are in the right seat and they have a scorecard that is directly for them in the role that they're in. What's that look like? We do this. This is the first week. What we do in Retail Bootcamp, we actually have a sample scorecard for everybody with a number of tabs on it. You can share as much with them or as little with them as you choose. Everyone does it a little bit differently. But for us, it's just a spreadsheet. So it's a spreadsheet they're responsible to fill out directly related to their role on a regular basis. And then we do a quarterly review period with our employees here at the Hub related to their scorecard and what they're accountable to. Okay, I have a lot more questions and answers that I would love for us to get to, Sarah, but a couple of quick reminders before we dig in and we answer a bunch more of them. Today's the last day for RBC Fast 25, which is $100 off plus the 2 handbooks. So I want to make sure you guys have access to that. If you have any questions, our team is around all day because we know this is a big decision for everybody. Happy people at theboutiquehub.com or any of our chats, our DMs. I know Shannon's on Instagram all day. Just message us if you have a question, and we would really love to help you guys out today. Enrollment as a whole for Retail Bootcamp will be open for the next about week and a half. I think we close on the 24th, if I'm remembering correctly. But this is your best option to get this deal today. And then again, the 4-part payment plan that we added. Oh yeah, and I was going to do a tour. Tour. So I'll have to get that pulled up here in just a minute. Otherwise, Sarah, do you have that on your screen since I'm
Sure, I can do it. Yep.
Okay, if you'll pull that up and then we will continue to do some Q&As. I know we've got some hanging on, so thank you for being here. Okay, giveaway winners. Are you guys ready? This is the fun part. Okay, I'm dropping it in the chat. Chelsea Little, are you here? Chelsea, congratulations. You're the VIP upgrade winner. You already enrolled in boot camp. Hooray. And then Caitlin Sizemore, you are getting access to RBC for free. Congratulations, you guys. If you are a winner, please email our team, happypeople@theboutiquehub.com, and we'll get you set up with your guys' prizes. But thank you guys for entering. Thanks for being on Instagram, all the things. For anyone who's jumping off early, again, we've got a lot more Q&A we want to get to for you guys. But if you're jumping off early, I just want to quickly and sincerely say thank you. It's a lot to show up for 3 days and to take your precious time. Thank you for investing in yourself, for answering and asking really great questions, supporting one another in the chat. This business is built on community over competition, and you guys demonstrated that for 3 days. So thank you for just making our hearts happy. Sarah and I and our entire team here at the Hub, like, we're so blessed to get to do what we do. I can't even begin to tell you how thankful we are that this gets to be our reality every day. We get to serve people. We're so lucky. So thank you for showing up and giving us an opportunity to serve and just trying to help you see the forest through the trees. We know what it's like to be a very busy entrepreneur. So thanks again for showing up today. All right, Sarah, should we get back into some Q&A? You guys, replays will be emailed out. And those of you jumping in RBC, we can't wait to see you. We're going to see you every single Wednesday for the next 14 weeks together. As soon as you purchase, we're going to add you into our private Facebook group. You're going to get access to Kajabi. Sarah, if you want to show everyone a really quick tour, and then again, more Q&A.
All right. Okay.
I stop my share so you can
Yep,
jump.
got it. Okay, perfect.
Yep. As you're jumping in, Susie, I see your question. Susie's our St. Lucia friend. I'm so glad that you're here.
Yeah.
She's asking, basically, there's a lot of things she wants to implement. She says, is it better to do RBC or just hire a one-on-one coach with the hub? So here's our thoughts. Our opinion is it's better to do RBC and then do a one-on-one with us after you've been through it once, or once you've been through at least a majority of it, because it's faster for you to go and learn at your own pace in RBC and then join us live weekly, and then us do one-on-one with you to like double down on what you learned. So in those one-on-ones, you get to look at your numbers with Sarah. We get to talk strategy. We do email audits and marketing audits and e-commerce audits, all of that. But you're going to get so much information with the baseline of RBC. I would do that one first. All right. Can you see Sarah's screen okay?
Everybody see it? I can't see the chat. I don't have that up. Hold up. Okay.
That's okay.
All right. So this is basically, once you get logged in inside your course, you're going to be able to see our calendar. You're going to be able to see where you're at in the course. There's 251 videos, all of the things. This is a robust course, but this is how it's laid out for you guys. There's the welcome information. Then we start talking about the foundations, going into the product's profit, team, sales, content, traffic, and marketing. Each one of these things, when you open this up, there is more trainings inside each one of these. There's bonuses for you. The bonuses are going to be more downloads, worksheets, where some of these are team activities that you can do with and among your team or your support system. So these are helpful for you as you're answering the questions that we've uncovered inside each one of the layers in the course. And if you ever miss anything, all you have to do is come here and watch the replay. So we are really, it's very important to us that we have time to go through all of these things, but nonetheless, the classes are live Wednesdays and then live again on Thursdays with a guest expert. So there's lots to uncover for each one of these layers. 2 weeks for each layer, 2 weeks for each layer, 2 coaching calls with Ashley and I in small groups, and then 2 guest experts every single week. So when you come in here and we want to work through all of our products and profit, you'll see we do accounting, inventory, profit planning. There is Shopify training inside here, how to set up your online store. And again, more bonuses and replays. Team, I'll just kind of show you different things. I was just in here. This is why it looks a little bit different. But as we're going through like hiring, firing, coaching, training tools, internship programs, all sorts of different things. So then when you get into sales, you're going to see sales strategy, tons of stuff on merchandising. And merchandising, we really broke this down. We're giving merchandising training on home decor and gift stores. We're giving training on clothing and apparel and specialty and pop-up shops, photography, merchandising, all sorts of different things here. And again, more audits for you in your business, where you're going to go back and you're going to start testing some of the things that you're putting out there in front of your audience. Is your website working? Is your SEO strategy working? Is the usability? Do you have backlinks on your site? All of these kind of things. We're testing those. You're not just building them and thinking they're working. We're testing those here. Then your content creation. We've got more things on traffic and marketing. All sorts of stuff. And then also the next step, there's some Botica Black trainings here, more financially fabulous trainings from Christine Gray, and previous semester replays. Look, you can even go back and watch the replays from the last few years. So that's really important. If sometimes we have guest experts you want to go back in and look at, you want to learn more from them as well. Let's see, I guess I can just continue on here. Some of the quick wins for you, quick access. The workbook download for all of you guys that are wondering, how do I find that? If you do want to download that workbook, if you want the one that's going to be mailed to you, you can download the calendar here. This is the scorecard that we're talking about. And then this RAM matrix, this is an activity that we do together right away when we jump into the course that just kind of helps identify, where am I spending my time and where's the biggest ROI coming back from a return on investment of time and energy and effort I'm putting into products and things in my business. And then just some testimonials and some other fun information. But There's a lot in here. And it will always have the calendar here, how to ask questions, how to make sure you're taking advantage of all the things, direct links back into our social medias as well. I can't see the chat. What am I missing?
It's good. No questions in the chat
Okay.
directly related to this. I'm answering them as we go. Hopefully you guys are seeing my chats back to you.
Okay, I just wanted to call it out for all of you newbies. These announcements up here, when Ashley and I have announcements and we want to make sure you're aware of something, whatever it might be, this is different. We've never had this before. So we're going to be using the announcements so we're better communicating with you throughout the course. So if we've added a new bonus, which who knows what's going to happen in retail between now and the end of this round, which happens to be like May 1st, who knows? But if we add in new bonuses or new trainings, or we have a schedule change, or we have a new expert coming in or something, you'll hear about it in the announcements. We also obviously will send you emails and do all of the things and post in our social media as well. But we also want to make sure those announcements are there for you.
Awesome. All right. Couple things. The payment plan should be on your page, on the checkout page. Once you get, there's like a page that has all the information about the course, and then there's a checkout page. The 4-part payment plan option should be there, as well as Afterpay and Klarna. If you've already been in Retail Bootcamp, you're already in the Facebook group, you're linked to the modules, and again, it's all new. That dashboard is at the top of the group. Okay, what else? Oh, what pace do we go at? So there's 6 layers, right? So we take 2 weeks per layer. So you'll watch the video on your own time, and then we come in and do the live coaching each week. Again, it takes 2 weeks to get through a layer. All right, let me scroll back up. Oh, you guys are so good. You're answering some of these questions. As a handmade embroidery business with a few items I purchased, would the Boutique Hub membership still benefit me? And if so, how? Danyan, thank you. Great question. Yes. So in terms of, yeah, you're not maybe going to market and sourcing inventory that way. That's okay. We have a lot of different types of retailers who are sourcing inventory through drop shipping and through custom. And we have wholesale brands who are making their own products as well, handmade products, so on and so forth. So all of that, like this, the sales strategy, the marketing strategy, the building a business, building a team, your operations as a CEO, all the discounts and service providers that we have access to, plus the community of just connecting to people, all would definitely still apply to you as an embroidery business. Ginger, as a returning RBC member, can I have my manager join and take some of the classes with me? Yes, you get access to add one person to the group with you that's on your staff. And then they can log into your dashboard as well to watch some of those courses as you go. That one we answered. Okay, Mariana, last year I had a goal of doing 42 pop-ups. I ended up doing 76. Wow, that's awesome. This year I don't think I would be accepted to the same markets. Who in the hub could help me set up or understand my online store? Sarah, you want to answer that one?
I'm so sorry. I was responding to somebody else's question. I'm sorry. Which one were we talking about? My bad.
I'll get it. You keep responding. I know we're both
Sorry.
answer as many as we can. Mariana, so yes, in the hub, first thing I would do is go to the training library in the hub. By the way, the new dashboard I think is going to roll out next week for the membership dashboard. And then go under the e-commerce section for Shopify. And there's all kinds of getting started videos there. Megan on our team has been recording a bunch of those videos. And then if you do as much as you can and you're like, oh crap, I need someone else to help, I would go to the service providers page. And there's several experts, e-commerce experts in there who can help you get everything set up correctly to get your online store up and going. So hopefully that helps. Jody, with the VIP option, would that help if I want to change my website from WooCommerce to Shopify? I have a WooCommerce site, but I really want to change it to Shopify. Can I get help switching as opposed to an audit on my site? So a couple things. I know that there's apps in Shopify that will help you just like download your CSV of all your products and your data and move it into Shopify for you. I don't know what those are called off the top of my head, but if you search in the Shopify App Store, you'll find them. And then same as the previous question, there's experts that are service providers of the hub that can help you actually make the move over. So when you do a one-on-one as a VIP in Retail Bootcamp, Sarah and I, we're not going to log in and do the work for you. But we would do audits, we would consult you on the process, we would strategize with you, but we aren't actually going to move over your products or build the site for you, if that answers your question. Okay. Ooh, Sarah, question for you.
Okay.
If I don't need 15% for my tax savings, what should I direct that 5% to? I'm assuming you're
Yeah.
saying 15% versus 15. Um, where should I put it? Operating, inventory, so on.
Yeah. So this is one of those things if you are ready to boost up your inventory a little bit more, you could allocate that. You could split them. This is definitely a personal choice. You could put it towards your savings. It could go back to you. But you want to kind of make sure if you are selling through inventory fast and you're seeing your inventory is rotating, you may want to put it back into inventory. You may want to be able to have a little bit more on hand to boost those sales.
Jessica, Sarah, this is a question for you as well.
Okay.
For numbers 2025, I'm having a hard time forecasting because I opened Labor Day 2024. The fall, winter are very busy, but I'm worried when forecasting that I am using the busiest months of the year for those projections. What should I do to adjust the accuracy of my forecast for 2025? It's a great
Yeah.
question.
This first year is really just going to be a stab at it, right? It's going to be a stab at it. My advice to you is like, what do you need? Is this your main source of income? If so, what are you personally wanting that's going to fit with you is your finances, and build your goal off of that. Build your goal off of that. If you feel like those months that you were open, obviously are going to be more profitable as the business, and you feel like your first quarter of the year, typically, depending on where you're at, unless you're a resort or a destination of some sort, yeah, it might be a little slower. By March, typically starts to pick back up, and then you may fall into a little bit of a gap around June. So, it is just going to be one of those things that it's going to be trial and error, but I would set your standards where you need them to be. Like, what does it mean to you to run this business and it be worth your personal time and investment? Because I guarantee you, if you just say, $5,000 is what I'm going for because I just think it's going to be slow, and it is going to be what it is. $5,000 to some people is great, but if you know you need it to be 20,000 or 30,000 and you set that goal, odds are you're going to reach for the 20 and 30, and you're not going to slow down.
Perfect. All right. There was just a question. I know Beth typed out an answer to this one, but it was just clarifying. Okay, wait. So there's an online portion of RBC, and then there's a group, and then there's coaching. Like, how does this all work? So here's what's going to happen once you join RBC. First thing is you're going to get your email confirmation, and that's going to include a login to where all the course modules are housed. And that's what Sarah just showed you. So they'll be getting started, first steps. You'll be able to download your scorecard. You'll be able to download the workbook or buy the workbook. You'll get your course calendar, and then you'll get a link to the Facebook group. So you'll want to know where are all those online trainings, because you're going to watch those at your own pace. And again, it takes 2 weeks to watch a layer. So that's step number one. Then on January 29th, that's our first day of live coaching. So you'll already be added to our Facebook group. By that point, you'll do an introduction video. You'll meet everyone else who's in the course with you. On January 29th is our orientation day. So Sarah and I will go live on Zoom. You'll have the Zoom link. That'll be emailed to you. It'll be posted in the group, pinned in the group, in the announcements, in the training modules. And on orientation day, we're going to just again, walk through everything to make sure you know the lay of the land and answer all your questions, best practices, all that stuff. From orientation day, the following Wednesday is February 5th, and that's our first week of coaching. So by then, we will have wanted you to go through the majority of layer one, and we'll start doing coaching around layer one and walking through surveying your customers and going through your scorecards. And mindset and productivity is one of the first things we dive into to really set that base layer. And then again, we coach Wednesdays. We also then have a guest expert that comes in and also coaches on Thursdays. And they just go a little bit deeper into whatever that topic's going to be. And then we'll repeat that Wednesday, Thursday live coaching on Zoom every single week going forward for 14 weeks. So you'll always have your online version, you'll always have the Facebook group, and then you'll have the live coaching for 14 weeks as well. And yes, Cece, when you sign up for RBC, if you go all the way down to the next steps, layer in RBC, there is a discount code for membership in there. And I believe you'll get an email on that as well. We want to make sure while you're in RBC, you get at least a couple of months inside of membership so you can understand kind of the differences and the benefits of both. Because they're sisters, not twins, right? All right. I think that is it for the Q&A box. Let me just scroll up in, and the times, okay, a couple more questions. Times on those days is 10 a.m. Central Time. 10 a.m. Central Time. Questions on the Faves app. Our team could drop you the link for the Faves app. Ula's been here today. Again, we have a special offer as a Boutique Hub member with Faves, and we can get you that link. Will RBC teach me what to do first to start my store? Yes, it will. Maria, I think you asked a question earlier, like, how do I just get started? Bare bones business, like you want to just get started. We have a link for Shopify if anyone needs it. It's just like your free trial link to get started on Shopify. Our team
It's
can
in your workbook, actually.
Is it really? Okay,
Yeah.
sweet. So go into your workbook, scan the QR code, get your free Shopify link, and you're gonna pick a theme with Shopify. Impulse and Stiletto are two paid themes, but by far they're the most popular. So you're gonna get a theme, you're gonna set all that up, you're gonna start to think about like, what's my brand, right? So you're gonna create probably a logo, colors, like what is my brand gonna look like? You'll do that in Canva. And any graphics you create in Canva, you're gonna put them in your Shopify store. And that's the basis for website setup. You're going to set up your social medias next. You're probably going to set up some email marketing in Shopify. And then it's time to source products. So you're going to go to market. We've got a free download at the hub on all of the in-person trade shows in 2025 and where they're all at. If you want it, we can send it to you. You'll probably go to a market, or you'll go to Fashion Go, or you'll go to Fair, or you'll go to Hubventory to purchase your products. When you purchase those products and you receive them, you put them on your website, and then you start to sell them. Is that a good analogy?
And we have the 20-step guide to how to start your boutique handbook that is exactly what you need. And that is something you can access through Retail Bootcamp as well. If that's the course you want to go with, where you're going to get started, because that foundation level, I know if you're not started yet, you may think that's a little bit more than where you want to be, but getting started on that right track. I've talked to so many people that are saying, I'm so glad I started there first, so I didn't make these big costly mistakes. But that 20-step guide is basically what Ashley just kind of talked through. So that is something that you would want to focus on.
Okay, Sunny B, I see your question. Email happypeople@theboutiquehub.com and we'll help you figure that one out. Lisa, what's the time commitment? So here's what I'd say. I would say figure out an hour that you can just spend watching the videos and doing the coursework. Like go in, do the downloads, videos, all that. And then implement an hour to take action. And then an hour just to watch us live. And you can listen to us live while you're also doing other work. And that's the Wednesdays that are live. To me, that's the bare minimum. It's 3 hours, an hour to learn, an hour to take action, an hour to listen to us live is a good place to start. Okay, if you signed up for membership first, then you can do RBC. Can you still get the discount on membership? Tiffany, you just email us. And if that's the case and you just signed up like in the last 2 days for membership, we can definitely work something out for you. All right, that is a lot of questions and answers. Will Canva automatically port those images over? No, you've got to download them and then upload them yourself. Do we get a discount with Fair as regular Boutique Hub members? No, not with Fair, but many of the same brands who are on Fair are on Hubventory, and you get a discount with those brands that are on Hubventory.
I just want to remind everybody on the last page of day 1, there's a whole bunch of QR codes. That's where that QR code that we we're talking about with Shopify's there, QuickBooks is there, that traction book by Gino Wickman, building a story brand. We talked a little bit about that with the customer. That's there, Canva, then the fans first QR code. A lot of the resources that we talked about this week are right there for you. And there's a whole list of QR codes on the back, the very last sheet of your workbook too. Trying to make it easy for you guys.
Carolyn, the code is RBC Fast 25 and it's $100 off. It's right here on the screen if you can still see the screen. Okay, is everything in membership in RBC? No. RBC is like college. It's like much more step by step, take this step, live group coaching, much more in depth. Membership has tons and tons of training videos, but it's all like do it at your own pace. But training is just one small piece of membership. So with membership, you've got the community, you've got all the discounts, you've got service providers, you've got events. So they're different. And again, membership with the discounts you receive alone should pay for itself. So they're sisters, not twins. They're different. The replays will be emailed out for sure. My website is Dropship. Lainey, we have a lot of Dropship members as well. Carolyn, yes, we go to Atlanta Market and we have a showroom there. So yeah, we'd love to see you there. I'll be there in April if you're going. I love that gift and apparel are combined in April. I'll be at that market. Okay, all right. And Phoebe dropped the link for those of you who are curious, all the Hub member savings on Hubintory. She dropped that link so that you can see it. We're on floor 9, E319. So building B3. Sarah, that's it.
There was one other thing I forgot to share when I was sharing my screen about RBC. I didn't show, if you are in, once you get into RBC, if you were going to go and get the workbook, you can also get the planner for just an additional $30. That's the bundle.
Oh yeah, thank you for saying that. If you don't
I
have
forgot to show you guys that.
yeah, if you don't have the planner yet, so when we say planner, again, this purple guy, if you don't have him yet, you can get him bundled with your workbook if you do the like printed out for you offer.
Yep. Yep.
Val,
yeah. Okay.
oh,
Sorry.
sorry. Val, Val, the email is happypeople@theboutiquehub.com. Layla, the difference again between membership and RBC. Again, membership is it's community. So all the Facebook groups, inventory exchange, it's all the opportunity to buy wholesale and get all the wholesale discounts in our Facebook group and on hubintory.com and at Market. We do a must-see list that has discounts for members at Market. It's all of our perks and discounts, our service providers, and then the trend report that we do, plus all the education we do in membership, which is all just kind of like a platter. It's a plethora of education that you can DIY. And RBC would be more like going to college and having a coach along the way. So it's like, do this, then do that. It's step by step by step, very in depth. No stone is left unturned, whether you're new or whether you're a multi-million-dollar business. We coach to kind of all of those levels. And then you get the live group coaching with Sarah and I every week. Sisters, not twins. And Boutique Black. And Boutique Black, how's that different? Okay, so Boutique Black is, we look at this as like an extension of membership in RBC. So it's kind of like you're a business who's already got the foundation of you've got great content, you understand your pricing and all of your cash flow strategy, you understand products and how they work, you probably have a team, and you're ready now to just like pour some gasoline on the fire and drive traffic. So if all of the, foundation of your business is super solid and you've done, boot camp, all those things, then Boutique Hub Black is learning to run your own Facebook ads, not necessarily paying an agency to do it for you, but you really maximizing those dollars, DIYing it yourself. It's got one-on-one coaching for ads, for SEO, for Google ads, for Pinterest ads, and TikTok ads. There's no semesters for Black. It's a monthly membership and it's $397 a month to be a part of that. And it is for retailers, and we have a wholesale version of Boutique Hub Black as well, which is pretty awesome. Is membership worth it for a baby and kids boutique? Yes, we actually have a whole Facebook group of baby and kids boutiques. So you can connect with other baby and kids boutiques as well. We have several of them. So the trainings are the same, but RBC is more step-by-step. The trainings are not the same. They're different. There's trainings on a lot of similar topics, but RBC is much more in depth, much more step-by-step, and it goes in a very specific order. And there's more covered in RBC than in just the training library itself. But the training library, we do update every week. So slightly different. You bet. You're welcome. All right, Sarah, any others I missed?
This was a question, Val, I saw your question about the profit first and debt. And the profit first plan there is not an exact debt allocation, but what I would encourage you to do is set that up. You could allocate part of your operating expenses towards that, or you could, depending on what you are wanting to do with your own savings plan, you could allocate something there, but there is not a standard practice for debt allocation. But a lot of times what you could do is take that from your owner's pay, and then once that debt is paid off, replenish that back, right? Like keep that staying with your owner's pay. That is my advice. But depending on how much you have, maybe you're going to need to pull some from your OpEx account.
Yes. Megan, this is a really great question. So is membership worth it for alternative fashion boutiques? So again, membership's not just for fashion boutiques. So I love, like, the question right before yours was for consignment shops and children's, and I know yours is more like goth, grunge, punk, pinup. It doesn't matter. Yes, it is available to everybody. Consignment clothing boutiques, absolutely. So what would be best for you is when you get into those niche groups, are you a brick and mortar, are you online? I would go about it that way. How can I find stores that are similar to me, but that I can still learn from, even if they don't sell the same product I do? So I would try to get it with those. And then also depending on your income level. So there's a group called the 30K group. So if you're making 30K a month or more, or the $1 million group. So you can find people in that fashion too. Yeah, there's a few clothing consignment boutiques also. Vintage consignment boutiques, dropship boutiques, several different types. All right, Sarah,
Yes.
retail is retail. Yes, absolutely. Okay, all right.
Love that.
That's it. We're closing down shop, you guys. We will see
Woo!
you. We will see you. We would love to invite you. Follow along, you guys. We've got a podcast where we talk retail every single week. Yes, home decor too, you guys. Home decor too. Every week we're on the podcast. Come join us there. If you join membership, we would love to see you there. And of course, retail boot camp. So all kinds of ways we could work together to grow your business this year. And we can't wait for whatever works best for you. We're going to be there to serve you.
You bet. And I'm just going to pink Magnolia. Yes, lifetime access means the life of your business. I know it's crazy. This is the hardest thing for people to believe about this course, is that once you buy it, you have access to it for the life of your business. So every time we do updates and we do new things inside Retail Bootcamp, you don't ever have to pay for it again. You've done that. You've paid for it. So that's what lifetime access is.
Yeah.
It's a real deal.
You'll come back to best year yet next year and go, oh yeah, I got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Next year doing retail bootcamp. All right. Hopefully this was value. You guys all got nuggets. Send us a DM, send us a message on Instagram, on Facebook, wherever. We would love to hear your feedback. We would love to hear how it went, what you learned, what you implemented. We want to see you guys in action. So again, thank you for being here. We're so lucky to get to do this and serve you guys. We appreciate you.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Bye.
See you next year.